When we were researching the plant toolbox, I was like, look!
Oh, that looks familiar.
We were on the right track, I know. But we were very excited.
Cheat code.
We were on the right track.
Yeah, the thing is, no. The thing is, we never really had computer. That's why I took it.
So let's, as Ashley so eloquently said, let's process our feelings. So, what was that like? Was anything about the process that was interesting, surprising, enlightening, disturbing, traumatizing?
We're babies.
You did. All of you did very well, actually. But what was the process-wise? Tell me what you learned. Did you find the extent? What did you say?
There's a lot of information.
There is.
Yes.
And is some of it good? Is some of it terrible? Or at least unhelpful? What did you say? Yeah, but did you at least get a feel for how you would look for extension information? Was that kind of interesting? And how, like, for certain crops that are common and have a lot of problems, like tomatoes, there can be whole publications just devoted to tomato diseases, for example. So that's one way to start. There are enough fact sheets about enough. A fact sheet is the old-fashioned extension term for an extension publication about a topic. There are enough fact sheets about enough of the more common garden species that knowing what the plant is and having an idea of what the problem is can really narrow down your potential problems a lot. Like, you're not going totally in the dark. So if you can start with tomato diseases, start with asparagus problems. Problems is another key word to use sometimes to find these topics. But you can see why having a meat mind, brain, human brain is helpful in sorting through all this for people, and why you are still so valuable as volunteers to us. So AI will never conquer us. It's just, it's a big capital investments scheme to prop up Silicon Valley. Mark Zuckerberg is a terrible human being. Oh, I forgot. Edit that out, please. Sorry.
I agree. You're in good company.
It's on the internet. Zuckerberg's goons gonna come after me. All right, so the case one we would all find was Phytophthora spear and crown rot, right? And that these bent spears, wet conditions should give it away. It is technically not a fungus; it's one of those oomycetes, if you want to show off. And they have actually swimming spores. Isn't that cool? So, oh geez, that's dramatic. Let's mute that. Sorry. That's scary zoospore music. So yeah, these are they kind of can grow sort of fungal-like. They have hypha-like functions, but they're not closely related to fungi. And a similar thing that many of you found, just because it's probably more common. I only know of a few publications that mention Phytophthora spear rot, and that's from Michigan State. But unlike Phytophthora spear rot, Fusarium, crown root and stem rot tends to be favored in dry conditions. So that's the one thing. Also low pH. I think I gave you the pH on the back. And usually the initial, also look, it's far more dramatic. It is a rust. No, it's not. No, yeah, russet colored, sorry. It's not a rust, it's Fusarium. Anyway, but this external symptom is far more dramatic than you would see on Phytophthora. So just don't plant asparagus in a marsh. That would be a good way to start. It doesn't like that. And asparagus, more so than other vegetables, really does get around pH of 7, even 7.5. And so acidic conditions will not favor this disease and won't favor asparagus generally. But they can, lower pH can make it more likely to get this fusarium rust. All right, case 2. I didn't explain this well. This is supposed to be depicting, it's a cut stem of a tomato put inside a glass tube that's filled with water. So you see the oozing. And so we saw wilting symptoms, like it looks wilted, right? And so that should give you a hint of maybe a wilt disease. And there are at least 3 wilt diseases. Bacterial wilt, there's also fusarium wilt and verticillium wilt. Fusarium and verticillium wilt are both fungal diseases. So if you cut them open, you might see this similar brown streaking inside the stem, but you will not see the oozing. It will fail the ooze test. It will not ooze. In our area, fusarium is going to be the only fungal wilt. Verticillium is usually restricted to the mountains in North Carolina. It's too warm here for that to survive. So yeah, fusarium is a close second. Fusarium, some of you noted that fusarium tends to manifest yellowing more dramatically than bacterial wilt does. But the ooze test is the main thing. And again, bacterial wilt, the only way around it is grafted rootstocks, or planting them in pots or something with artificial media. With fusarium wilt, though, you can get plenty of hybrid cultivars that are resistant. Look for F or F1, F2, F3. I don't think there's any F4s that are resistant yet. Those indicate resistance to fusarium wilt. Case 3, did anyone make it? Yeah, this is another easier one. Early blight. This is one of many foliar diseases tomatoes can get. And the giveaway for early blight that will always make it easy is to look for this bullseye pattern in the lesion. So there's concentric rings, often with a halo, not always, but often with a halo is a dead ringer for early blight. There are some others, like septoria leaf spot. The lesions tend to be more irregular, they tend to be smaller, and they don't have the bullseye pattern as early blight does. Late blight is related to the Phytophthora of the spear rot variety in asparagus. It's more general dieback, especially on newer growth. And then bacterial leaf spot can look similar, and you can also do an ooze test on a leaf. If you find a relatively fresh lesion, don't go for the brown area, but go for like the transition from green to yellow, and make a cut and put half the leaf in water. If you look carefully, you can see some oozing too with bacterial leaf spot. I should also add on on early blight, which is caused by alternaria. This tends to occur on lower growth, whereas late blight tends to occur on new upper growth. And I do have, some of you found it, but there is a great publication from Clemson on tomato diseases and disorders. There's also a separate publication on tomato pests. Those are just my go-to for most of these. However, a more recent resource from our own people is from Inga Meadow, who is just an awesome person. Meadows, sorry. And she has, well, you can save this link or take a photo of this link. She has disease fact sheets for all these diseases, and one of her COVID projects was to make videos describing all of these diseases.
Oh, wow.
So I'll leave this up too. It's on the NC State Extension YouTube channel as well. But if you just Google tomato disease Inga Meadows, you should be able to find them. I'll add too that in, everyone got this? What is happening? What have I done? Okay, case 4, real quick. Oh, I need to miss it. Case 4 is cold injury, and what gave it away, or what should have made you suspicious, is the fact that there were 2 different species that were affected, that are not closely related. It wasn't like we were seeing something on tomato and eggplant, which are closely related. We found them on Akuba and gardenia, and Akuba is hideous, I hate it. So, but no judgment, not all of us have good taste. But the idea is that there are some species that generally do fine here, but if we have extreme low temperatures like we did this year, and we did 5 or 6 years ago, some of those marginal plants will suffer some above ground damage. It usually doesn't kill them. You can usually just prune out the damaged tissue and it'll regrow fine. Figs are in this category. When it gets below 10, some of these marginal plants can really get injured, but they usually recover okay. I had another thought here, but I lost it. Oh yeah, remember these zones, I need to update this, we're in 8A now. Remember the zones indicate average minimum. And so there can be plenty of temperatures outside the average that will happen, and then more death and destruction can occur. Case 5 was slime flux, which is the best named green disease ever named. Anyone get this one? Didn't get quite that far? Oh, good, excellent, yeah. So this is just a problem where it's not an infection per se, but there is bacteria that are growing on some of the starches inside some stems that come from an injury, and then under certain conditions the pressure can move the ooze out of these weak spots, these wounds, and stain the bark. There's nothing you can do about it. It's not really a major problem in general. There are some similar ones called alcohol flux, which is not just simply what happens on Friday morning. Saturday morning after a bad Friday night. But that will smell like booze and be kind of foamy. Botrysphaeria can give you kind of gumming on some plants. If you see like this amber colored gum and it's hard, that might be Botrysphaeria. Spell that and you win a prize. This is bad news. I don't think it's common here yet, but this is killing a lot of oaks in some areas, so they're trying to control it. Another Phytophthora there, you notice. And real quick, case A was rose rosettes. This is it's not a virus, it's phytoplasma. I will change that. But it's spread by mites and it's incurable. It's particularly hitting knockout roses, which are really popular. They also don't smell like much, so what's the point? But so the knockouts are now knocked out. So the only solution is to remove and destroy these. The pathogen is only present in the plant tissue, so it won't infect the soil. But if you have one, it's better to remove everything. Yeah.
You just said that it's not a virus?
I think it's a phytoplasma, so I need to correct myself on that.
The text has it listed as a virus.
It is? Okay. So I may be misremembering. Do you remember if it's phytoplasma or?
It used to be described as a virus, but I don't know, maybe it was.
Okay. I maybe just had a neuron cross, so we'll call it a virus unless someone else says it's a phytoplasma. Yeah.
Please remind them if we want in this class all the rules, like.
What'd you say?
Everyone in this class needs to bring me a rose plant.
Oh yes, okay. So yes, if anyone has roses, what's your name again?
When you want Jews. When
So-
you good roses, not
Got it.
not some of them were, but not all of them.
And then case B was downy mildew. There are several kinds of downy mildew that occur on different crops. And this is a disease that does not overwinter here. It's too cold. So it only gets here whenever winds bring it back, bring it to us from Florida or southern Georgia, where it can live year round. It can also live, I guess, year round in like greenhouses, but more or less it's only a problem in gardens and landscapes when it arrives each year. Yeah.
So we thought this was angular leaf spot. How can you tell that it's downy mildew versus angular leaf spot?
On the underside of the leaves, the downiness means that if you feel them and look closely, they're kind of fuzzy.
Okay.
Angular leaf spot is not fuzzy.
Okay.
So you gotta feel your lesion. See, just like blow on it gently. Yeah. So there's it's unless you're a farmer with a greenhouse of cucumbers, there's no fungicides that you can use that are effective. So the idea would be plant this as early as you can stand it. You'll be sick of cucumbers by July anyway. So once it doesn't arrive every year, and sometimes it's not severe, but plant early as you can, mid-April, late April, grow as much cucumber, squash as you can, and then once it gets here, grow something else. All right, how was that? How was that? You're on your way to becoming